Hi, I'm not really familiar of the word code switching until now because we have a certain terminology in the Philippines where we say FITUMI instead. So FITUMI is an abbreviation of fake it till you make it. So in order for me to share my experience about code switching or masking and losing our identity just to survive or fit in, allow me to read what I have written on my journal, the time when I arrived here in the UK and I started working in the society. The voice that emerged as I introduced myself in a room full of Western colleagues felt unfamiliar, brighter, more polished, carefully modulated. My natural tone, the cadence I grew up with, faded into something more acceptable. This wasn't the first time I felt the need to adjust myself in a predominantly Western space, but it was one of the moments that made me realize how deeply ingrained this adaptation had become. I unconsciously softened my accent, chose words carefully, and adjusted my expressions to seem more approachable, friendly, gently. It was subtle, automatic, so much so that I only noticed it afterwards. And this was the first time I recognized I had FITUMI, fake it till you make it. Later, I reflected on why I had felt the need to alter my natural way of speaking. Was it to avoid being misunderstood, to be more competent, to prevent the awkward pause that sometimes follows when my words don't land the way I intend to? In the Philippines, it's more than just about the language. It's about adapting our entire presence to fit in a space where we might feel like an outsider. I just had this strong urge to fit into my professional settings, to avoid negative stereotypes, to be more taken seriously, or to simply just make the interaction smoother. For many Filipinos or Asians, particularly immigrants or children of immigrants, it's a survival tool. So one that allows us to navigate different worlds without drawing unwanted attention to ourselves. I remember the famous term used by Du Bois described the feeling of double consciousness, the experience of seeing oneself through the eyes of another, or balancing two identities that sometimes I feel at odds. While he was speaking about the Black experience in America, the sentiment resonates deeply with me, who moved between cultures. At that moment, on my first day, which is a social setting, I felt the need to speak more directly, downplaying my cultural mannerism, choosing my words carefully. Thank God for my parents for a very westernized name, Tanya Robert, so I can remove from my tick boxes of what not to do in situations like this. Like, I don't need to laugh off people mispronouncing my names. I instantly ignore microaggressions and learn to speak in ways that feel safer and more palatable. For me, this kind of strategy is more than just fitting in. It's about avoiding discomfort or discrimination. I remember when we have this unspoken rules in our house, my mom and my dad would say, speak clearly, don't let your accent show. Don't be too assertive, don't be too quiet either. Make sure you pronounce things properly. Blend in, don't make waves. And it's just like a rhyming thing in my head that plays every single time I'm put in a situation where I have to feel the need to fit in or to mask. I realized I was on a survival mode, and they are the lessons learned from experience, ways to avoid being overlooked, dismissed, or worse, targeted. But as I reflect on my own experiences, I ask myself, what do I lose in the process? When I continuously adjust, soften, and reshape myself to fit in, do I risk erasing parts of who I am? So this is the last sentence I wrote, and mentioning my name like talking to myself. Perhaps, Tanya, the real challenge is learning when to FITUMI, fake it till you make it, and when to reclaim the fullness of my voice. So I remember writing this, and I was engrossed with so much emotion inside me, and I just had the need to just let it all out because I felt like I was constricted so much, or I had to change myself a lot in shaping myself into the culture that I've never been to. and I just felt like I've lost myself entirely. So I hope this story helps you understand more of what an ethnically diverse person like myself had to do, not because you asked us to do it, but because we just felt like we have to do it to feel more safer and more palatable, as I said, and more acceptable. Thank you.